Have you ever wondered what real loyalty looks like when everything around you turns deadly? I'm not talking about that cute everyday loyalty, like your dog sprinting to the door when you get home. I mean the kind of loyalty that shows up when the world is literally trying to freeze you into a statue. Before we dive in, do me one favor. Drop a comment telling me where you're watching from, because this story deserves to reach farther than that storm ever stretched. Alright, let's get into it. Picture this. James, late 30s, rugged face, stubborn heart. The kind of guy who thinks he knows the mountains better than the mountains know themselves. Decides to take a winter road trip through a range he's driven 1,000,000 times. And riding shotgun is Buck, the big mixed breed dog with deep amber eyes that don't just look at you, they look through you. One ear torn from some old fight, a chest like a bear, and a soul that seems older than the snow itself. That morning looks harmless. One of those winter skies that's so calm it feels like it's hiding something. The radio keeps warning about light snow, but nothing serious. James laughs at it. Relax, Buck, we've seen worse. Yeah, those are the lines people say right before everything goes horribly wrong. Halfway up the shortcut, the wind changes. At first it's annoying, like someone blowing cold air onto your neck. But within minutes, it becomes a monster. The snow doesn't fall. It attacks. The white curtain drops in front of the truck like the whole world just got erased. Buck sits up immediately, ears forward, letting out a soft, uneasy growl. Not aggressive, but alert. Instinct screaming louder than the radio. James tries to turn around, but the road is gone, buried instantly. The tires slide, skid, and then bam, they hit ice. The truck jerks sideways, the engine coughs, gasps, dies. Just like that. The silence afterward is terrifying. No engine, no radio, just wind shrieking like something alive. Without heat. The cold invades the truck like an army. The kind of cold that doesn't just touch you, it bites. It finds the spaces between your bones. It steals your breath. James grabs a tarp and a blanket, turning the truck into a tiny emergency bunker. Buck presses himself against James's legs, giving every ounce of warmth he has. Hours pass. Then a day. Then two. Water. Melted snow over the dying battery. Heat. Food. 2 granola bars. They split painfully. Buck won't eat his half. He noses it back to James every time. Dogs don't understand selfishness. They only understand love. By day 4, the storm is louder than thunder, louder than thought. Snow crushes the truck from every angle. James's fingers start to go numb one by one. His phone dies. The radio dies. Hope starts to flicker out. At some point, James realizes the truth no one wants to admit. He might actually die out here. He whispers into Buck's fur. Buddy, we gotta get through this somehow. Buck licks his frozen fingers, keeping him awake. Day 6. Frostbite creeps up James's hands. Day 7. His vision blurs. Day 8. The world becomes a dull ache. Then something impossible happens. The wind stops. Not slowly, instantly. Like someone hit a switch. James thinks he's dreaming, but Buck knows better. He stands up fast, ears stiff, nose working like he's suddenly smelling destiny. Before James can react, Buck forces the truck door open and steps out into the white wasteland. He looks back once, as if saying, "Follow me, trust me," and James, barely alive, does. Every step feels like dragging concrete blocks through hell. Snow up to his knees, air slicing his lungs. He falls twice. Buck circles him, nudging him back up each time. Finally, Buck stops beside what looks like a random mound of snow. But it's not random. It's the roof of an old hunter's shelter, completely buried. Buck starts digging like he's been waiting his whole life for this moment. James helps, numb hands shaking, until they break through a crooked wooden door and squeeze inside. It's dark, freezing, abandoned, but wind-free, and to a dying man, that feels like heaven. That night is the first night James sleeps without shaking uncontrollably. But survival doesn't come that easy. By day 12, James gets violently sick, fever, shivering, delirium. He's slipping fast, and Buck becomes more than a dog. He becomes a nurse, a guardian, a lifeline. He brings snow to James's lips. He lays across James's chest to give warmth. He nudges him awake every time his breathing slows. If loyalty had a heartbeat, it would sound like Buck's. Days blur together. James whispers apologies. He truly believes he won't make it. But Buck refuses to leave his side. By day 20-something, James can't tell which. The storm finally gets tired of trying to kill them. The air becomes still. James finds an old dead radio in the shelter. Out of desperation, He hits it. Static, more static. Then they search team. Last known coordinates. If anyone can hear, James uses every last drop of strength to answer. His voice is barely dust, but he gives everything. Buck barks loud and sharp, the kind of bark that echoes down mountains. That bark saves their lives. Hours later, engines rumble in the distance. Boots crunch snow. A rescuer opens the shelter door and freezes in shock. James is half conscious, pale, broken, alive. When they try to pull Buck back so they can move faster, Buck growls, not to attack, but to warn. He's my human. I'm not leaving him. The rescue leader nods. Bring the dog. He comes with us. On the sled, Buck lays his head on James's chest, guarding him all the way down the mountain. In the hospital, nurses rush around James, but Buck refuses to leave the bed. Guards try to move him. The doctor waves them off. Let the dog stay. He's the reason that man is alive. 2 days later, James wakes up. Buck is staring right at him, exhausted, loyal, unbroken. When James finally whispers his name, Buck lets out one soft, relieved whine. James breaks. He grabs Buck and cries like a child into his fur. Reporters ask James how he survived 30 days in a blizzard that should have killed him in 3. He always says the same thing. I didn't survive because I'm strong. I survived because my dog refused to let me die. And even months later, every morning when James sees Buck, older, slower, grayer, he whispers the same 2 words, thank you, because storms can tear down trees, bury roads, and swallow mountains, but they can never break the bond between a man and his dog.